Hey everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. Today I want to show you the script that generates quite a few charts. You can see here there's two files that are generated for stats. First is a text file with a descriptive stats for the combination and the time frame of the pair. Now remember, all this data comes from Binance. That's a crypto pair, cryptocurrency pair, as well as a PDF representation of the so-called normalized distribution. So again, it's 1,883 charts, files that are generated, half PDF for chart and the other for the descriptive stats. On top of it will generate a ranking Excel file. There's 315 currency pairs in here. So it's kind of works out, but it's very diverse. So first things first, I just want to randomly show you some of the, so we're going to look at, why don't we just do BTC US dollar first. Now this is monthly, so there's not going to be so much data in here. We can see here the concentration of the outliers on the positive and some other ones. That's the monthly. So if I was to load up the monthly view of Bitcoin, here descriptive stats, we have standard mean, kurtosis, skew. These ones I like to pay attention to. Number of positives versus negatives. The frequency on the close, as well as the standard deviation of the up close, standard deviation of the low close, standard deviation 2, that's within normal range, standard deviation of up and the, well, it's basically the band of the up and down, and SD3 or standard deviation 3 is the extreme moves for these on the close among this distribution. So if you go into a distribution of, let's say, daily, well, let me just show you BTC daily, this one. You can see here it's more normalized on a daily, less outliers. Again, we have the text file with the descriptive stats. So these are them. We'll get into that. And then lastly, we have our hourly data as well. I'll just show you the charts. Again, it's obviously more on the negative side with a lot higher concentration of daily or hourly moves on the negative and fewer positive, which does make sense. So I'm going to show you some other random ones. The volatility is just pretty well crazy. So here's an hourly distribution of BTS Ethereum. You can see it's a more negative view of that or distribution. I won't bother with the monthly views, but again, you can clearly see here there's probably more of a downward negative daily move. So that's what these returns are the number of daily returns or hourly returns. Just depends upon the period I'm looking at. So here, I'm going to just pull up another one. Let's do Litecoin or IOTA against Bitcoin. So the daily, probably quite a bit more positive, judging from that. On the hourly, more negative. So you can clearly see that if you were just to trade IOTA on the daily, you would probably have more positive moves than hourly moves because it's leaning more towards the right. Now if I did the same thing with Ethereum, let's see what we have here. Again, more negative on the daily, and hourly it's pretty well somewhat evenly split. So it's totally random. I'll do one more Litecoin Let's see here, Litecoin BNB, Litecoin against the hourly. So here more negative, more distribution in this particular bucket between negative 0.1 and 0. So that's the higher concentration of them, and that's the daily, and then the hourly. Yeah, it's still quite a bit. There's quite a few more slightly positive ones over 0, and then quite a few here that are 0.001 in the whole. And then Ethereum. So let me just show you the monthly first. This is the wild thing about real volatility. You can clearly see some pretty big extreme moves, it seems. I thought this was a bug, but I'm not sure if that's a monthly view, but don't forget that. So I'm actually pulling up the wrong chart here. But let me just show you the daily moves. So yeah, you can see it's just a huge negative move, as well as the hourly. So this kind of helps you get an idea of what you should be staying away from and which ones can be somewhat stable. So let's take a look at the spreadsheet here. Let me just pull it up here. Let's close off. There's so many of these files, it's crazy. So let me just close that, and we want the crypto. Now, just so you know, I do have a CSV version of what I'm about to show you, comma separated value file, but this is the overall moves. So we have our pairs, and I can sort them. That's why I like using these spreadsheets to get the rankings. So in my case, I could easily see which ones are the most stable, and this could be also generated by data, so it might not be maybe by luck that we have a 0 standard deviation of 1 hour. This is 1 day. So if I wanted to show the daily, see which ones are the most, let's see here. So if I want to show the standard deviation of the daily, let me just sort all this stuff out. Okay. So we got to go all the way over to whatever column. So that would be column L. So we're going to sort by column K. I believe it's sorting on the descending. Column K is daily. So we can see here which ones are the more volatile. Now this has not been normalized, it's just raw data. So these bunch are the more volatile. Okay. As you can see here, that's on the daily moves, and then as you move down, farther down, blah, 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 blah. So we have about 314. So this typically on a daily move should be the most stable or least volatile. And judging from these, that might be the case. But again, you have to dig into the data to make sure it's exactly as you would expect. Because sometimes if there's not enough data, you might just get zeros. So you have to verify that. But that's why I only like working with the daily and the hourly. The monthly doesn't give you a lot of data when you download the data. So let me just do another sort. This time I'll do a sort on hourly, which is column 11. Okay, so descending once again, but this time we want column 11. So once again, on column 11, okay, so this supposedly should be the more stable ones, and or least volatile. Okay, no, I'm wrong. So we're doing daily. So yeah, these are the more stable ones, ETH, BTC, which would kind of make sense. And then these other ones, the least stable, Neo, Ethereum. So if you're looking for some form of stability, these are the currencies for you, which kind of makes sense. But then the opportunities won't be there because you won't get the volatility, or as we call, or as they call it in the stats world, dispersion. So moving on up here, you'll see how the volatility on the, oh, I'm sorry, those are the most unstable or most volatile on the hourly view. So the ones I showed you down here are most or least volatile on the hourly basis. Okay, so interesting stats to come out of this. We have a mean as well. This one I find is very important. Positive returns on the daily and hourly. From here, this is another good stat that if you wanted to find out which historically over this time period that I've downloaded, which ones will give you more momentum with a higher rate of positive returns, more positive returns. So we are wanting to do column I. So column I. So column I is no. So on the hourly, the ones that will give you the most, again, Ethereum and Bitcoin, Wave and Bitcoin, these have the highest concentration of positive moves on the hourly basis. And if you want to short opportunities on an hourly basis, as we move down here, again, making sure we have enough data here. This can also show you the volume, but these are the ones that give you the less positive moves. And this one is, so that's the hourly, and this is the daily. So if I sort on H, column H, we should be able to see on a I think it's hourly basis, descending, that was H. So again, on column H, we are dealing with the most ones with the highest number of positive moves on a daily basis. So these are the negative ones, but again, it just depends upon data. So you can see here, not a lot of positive, but the daily returns for daily, again, BTC is giving you more, Neo, Salt, and Ethereum. And again, these are over 1,000 data points each, I believe. So the data provided from Binance based upon when the cryptocurrency was created, you'll have lower number of days of returns. So remember that as well. So I would imagine BTC US would be high because it's one of the older cryptos out there with a higher number of days of activity. And you can also measure the standard deviation if you want to do this, so on and so forth, this type of sorting on these files. Hopefully this will help you out. This will really show you a variety of different ways to look at stat or use stats to find some interesting historical patterns. Hopefully this will help you out. Talk to you later.